I never thought my family's Thanksgiving dinner would end with me walking out in tears, but that's exactly what happened. I'm Emma Winters, 32, and according to my family, I'm the disappointment of our prestigious Manhattan dynasty. The day started like any other holiday at my parents' Upper East Side townhouse. Mom was fussing over the table settings, making sure every crystal glass sparkled just right. Dad was in his study, probably making last-minute trades before the market closed. And my younger brother Alex, well, he was doing what he did best, bragging about his latest accomplishments at Goldman Sachs. Another record quarter, he announced, adjusting his perfectly tailored suit. The partners are already talking about fast-tracking me for senior management. Mom beamed with pride. Her social circle would love this latest update. That's wonderful, darling. Isn't it wonderful, James? She called out to Dad. Absolutely spectacular, Dad replied, emerging from his study, following right in my footsteps. I stood in the corner, sipping my wine, trying to become invisible. But of course, that never works in my family. Mom's radar locked onto me like a heat-seeking missile. Emma, darling, she started, her voice dripping with false sweetness. How's what do you call it? Your little computer thing. It's a cybersecurity startup, Mom. I corrected her for what felt like the thousandth time. And we just secured our Series B funding, $20 million. The room went quiet for a moment, then Alex snorted. 20 million? That's cute. We handled transactions worth billions today. Now, Alex, Dad interjected, but his smile showed he agreed. Not everyone can handle the pressure of real finance. I gripped my wine glass tighter. Cybersecurity is real finance, Dad. In fact, we're projecting. Oh, please, Mom interrupted, arranging the centerpiece for the fifth time. When are you going to stop playing entrepreneur and get a proper job? Miranda's daughter just made partner at Morgan Stanley, and she's 2 years younger than you. The comparison game. My mother's favorite sport. I've been competing against Miranda's daughter, Barbara's son, and Richard's niece my entire life. It never mattered that I graduated summa cum laude from MIT, or that I turned down 6-figure offers from tech giants to build something of my own. I have a proper job, I said quietly. Secure Flow is growing faster than any startup in our sector. We're revolutionizing how companies protect their financial data. Alex loosened his tie and sprawled on the antique sofa. God, you sound like one of those Silicon Valley hippies. Do you have a meditation room in your office too? Maybe some bean bags and a ping pong table. Actually, I started to explain about our office culture and how it promoted creativity and innovation, but Mom cut me off again. Emma, dear, we're just worried about you. 32, single, no stability. When I was your age, I was already married to your father, and we had Alex on the way. I'm not looking for marriage right now, Mom. I'm building something important. Important? Dad scoffed. You know what's important? The markets, real business, not this tech bubble nonsense. The turkey timer chimed, saving me from responding. As we moved to the dining room, I tried to focus on the positive. My company was thriving. We had major clients, a growing team, and innovations that were genuinely making a difference in the financial sector. But sitting there, watching my family heap praise on Alex while barely acknowledging my existence, felt like being back in high school. Back when Alex's lacrosse trophies dominated the mantle while my robotics competition medals were tucked away in a drawer. Tell them about the Peterson account, Dad urged Alex, carving the turkey with surgical precision. Alex launched into a detailed story about some massive deal he'd helped close. I pushed my food around my plate, feeling increasingly invisible. And the best part, Alex concluded, is that old man Peterson specifically requested me for their Asia expansion. Said he hasn't seen talent like mine since, well, you, Dad. Mom practically glowed. That's because Winter's men understand real business. It's in your blood. Unlike some people's pipe dreams, Alex added, shooting me a smug look. Something in me snapped. Maybe it was the wine, or maybe it was just years of pent-up frustration, but I couldn't stay quiet anymore. My pipe dream just closed a deal with 3 major banks, I said, my voice stronger than I felt. We're implementing security protocols that will protect billions in assets. But I guess that's not real business, right? Emma, Mom sighed, don't be dramatic. We're just trying to help you see. See what? I interrupted. See that unless I'm following Dad's exact path, I'm worthless. that innovation and entrepreneurship don't count unless they're done in a corner office on Wall Street. Now listen here, Dad started, his face reddening. I won't have you disrespecting. Disrespecting what, Dad? The family name? The precious Winters legacy. I stood up, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor. You know what? I'm done. Done trying to prove myself to people who'll never see me as anything but a disappointment. Oh, sit down. Alex rolled his eyes. This isn't one of your startup pep talks. You're right, it's not, I said, grabbing my purse. It's me finally realizing that I don't need your approval. My company is successful. My work matters. And I'm proud of what I've built, even if you can't see it. Emma Catherine Winters. Mom's voice rose sharply. Don't you dare walk out on Thanksgiving dinner. But I was already moving toward the door, tears threatening to spill. Behind me, I heard Alex's mocking voice. Drama queen. Always has to make everything about her. When you grow up, Dad called after me, you'll understand what real success looks like. I slammed the door behind me, the sound echoing through the marble foyer. Outside, the November air bit at my cheeks, or maybe those were the tears I finally let fall. As I walked to the subway, because of course I hadn't taken a car service like the rest of my proper family, my phone buzzed with messages. I ignored them all. They'd be the usual mix of guilt trips from Mom, stern disappointments from Dad, and snarky comments from Alex. What they didn't know, what none of them had bothered to learn about my little computer thing, was just how far SecureFlow had come. We weren't just any startup, we were becoming the go-to security solution for major financial institutions, including, though they didn't know it yet, Goldman Sachs. But that would be a surprise for another day. For now, I just wanted to go home, put on my comfort clothes, and remind myself that I didn't need their validation anymore. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a message from my COO. Emma, you won't believe who just reached out about implementing our new security protocol. Call me ASAP. I smiled through my tears. Sometimes the best revenge isn't telling people they're wrong. It's letting them figure it out for themselves. And something told me they'd be figuring it out very soon. 2 weeks had passed since the Thanksgiving disaster. I threw myself into work, the best distraction from family drama I'd ever found. SecureFlow's offices buzzed with energy, a far cry from the stuffy corporate environment my family believed real businesses required. Yes, we had bean bags and a ping-pong table, just as Alex had mockingly suggested. We also had some of the brightest minds in cybersecurity working around the clock to protect billions in financial assets. But try explaining that to people who think success only wears our managed suits. Emma, my assistant Sarah poked her head into my office. The Goldman Sachs team is here for the presentation. I smoothed down my blazer, designer, but paired with jeans, much to my mother's eternal dismay. Conference room A? Actually, Sarah glanced at her tablet. They sent quite a few people. I put them in the main presentation space. I grabbed my laptop and headed to our largest conference room. Through the glass walls, I saw about 15 people in expensive suits, all looking slightly uncomfortable in our colorful modern space. My COO, Marcus, was already there, making small talk. Ms. Winters, one of the men stepped forward. David Patterson, head of global security at Goldman. Thank you for meeting with us. I shook his hand, noting his firm grip. Please call me Emma. Shall we begin? For the next hour, I walked them through SecureFlow's latest security protocols. Our AI-driven threat detection system, our quantum encryption methods, our real-time response strategies. Eyes that had initially held skepticism began to show interest. The speed of threat detection is impressive, Patterson admitted, and the encryption method is patented. I finished. We're the only company offering this level of security for financial transactions. Yes, well, he cleared his throat. That's actually why we're here. Goldman Sachs is planning a major digital transformation of our security systems. Your company's name kept coming up in our research. I tried to keep my expression neutral, but inside, I was dancing. This was it, the kind of deal that could take SecureFlow from successful startup to industry leader. We'd like to move forward, Patterson continued. But given the scale of implementation, we'll need to work closely with your team. In fact, we're assigning one of our rising stars to oversee the integration from our side. The door opened and I heard a familiar voice that made my blood freeze. Sorry I'm late, traffic was. Alex stopped mid-sentence, his eyes widening as he saw me. Ah, Alex, Patterson smiled. Perfect timing. Emma, Alex Winters will be our point person on this project. I understand you're familiar with his work. The room suddenly felt very small. Alex's face had gone from shocked to something approaching panic. Oh yes, I said smoothly, enjoying his discomfort. Alex and I are very familiar with each other's work. In fact, we just discussed it over Thanksgiving dinner. Alex's perfect tie suddenly seemed too tight. Mr. Patterson, perhaps we should. Excellent. Patterson clapped his hands together. Family connections always make these transitions smoother. Alex has been pushing hard for this promotion to Senior Integration Manager, and this project will be his proving ground. I watched the color drain from my brother's face. 2 weeks ago, he laughed at my little computer thing. Now his promotion hinged on working with it. Speaking of the promotion, Patterson turned to me. We'll need your team's sign-off on Alex's capability to handle the technical aspects of this integration. Standard procedure for all our major partnerships. I assume that won't be a problem. Of course not, I smiled. We'll evaluate Alex's technical understanding just like we would any other project manager. Alex's jaw clenched. He knew as well as I did that his knowledge of cybersecurity barely scratched the surface. His entire career had been built on charm and connections, mostly Dad's. The meeting wrapped up shortly after, with Alex barely speaking 2 words. As the Goldman team filed out, he lingered behind. Emma, he started, his voice lacking its usual arrogance. About Thanksgiving. Yes, I kept my tone professional, gathering my presentation materials. Look, I know I said some things, but this promotion is really important to me. Dad's expecting you to continue being his perfect carbon copy. I finished for him. Here's the thing, Alex. In my silly little startup, we care about competence, not connections. If you want to oversee this integration, you'll need to actually understand what you're overseeing. You can't do this to me, he hissed, dropping the professional facade. This is my career we're talking about. No, Alex. This is my company we're talking about. A company that handles billions in financial security. I'm not going to risk our reputation or Goldman's security just to help you save face. His phone buzzed. A text from Mom. How did the big meeting go? Dad's telling everyone at the club about your promotion. I caught a glimpse of the message and couldn't help but laugh. Let me guess. You didn't tell them who you'd be working with. Alex ran a hand through his perfectly styled hair, messing it up for the first time I could remember. Emma, please. What do you want? Money? I can arrange a personal consulting fee. Wow, I stepped back. You really don't get it, do you? This isn't about money or revenge. This is about protecting our clients and maintaining our standards. If you want this promotion, you'll have to earn it, just like I earned every bit of success you all laughed at. But I don't know anything about cybersecurity, he blurted out, then immediately looked like he wished he could take it back. Well, I picked up my laptop. Lucky for you, you've got 2 weeks before the technical evaluation. I'd suggest you start studying. Our basic security protocols manual is only about 600 pages. Should be a breeze for a Winters man, right? I left him standing there, looking more lost than I'd ever seen him. Part of me felt a twinge of sympathy. I knew what it was like to fear disappointing our parents. But a larger part of me felt something else. Vindication. That evening, my phone lit up with a call from Mom. I let it go to voicemail, then played it on speaker as I poured myself a glass of wine. Emma, darling, we need to talk about this situation with Alex. Surely you can just sign whatever needs signing. He's your brother after all. Family helps family. I deleted the message without responding. 10 minutes later, Dad called. Now listen here, young lady. You can't jeopardize your brother's career over some petty sibling rivalry. I'm calling Patterson first thing tomorrow to sort this out. I smiled and sent him a text. Feel free, but Goldman chose us because we're the best at what we do. Are you suggesting they should compromise their security to make things easier for Alex? No response. He knew I had him there. The great James Winters couldn't very well suggest that Goldman Sachs lower their standards. As I settled onto my balcony with my wine, watching the city lights twinkle, my phone buzzed one more time. A text from Alex. Where can I get that security manual? I took a sip of wine before responding. Security desk downstairs. Hope you like reading. Then I added, and Alex, when you're done with the manual, we should talk about what you said at Thanksgiving. Really talk, not just snipe at each other. 3 dots appeared as he typed, disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, okay, but can we keep this between us for now? Mom and Dad. Still think you're getting that promotion automatically. I finished for him. Don't worry, your secret's safe with me, for now. I put my phone down and leaned back, enjoying the cool evening air. 2 weeks ago, my family had laughed at my career choices. Now my little brother was about to learn that success in the real world isn't about last names or connections. Sometimes the best lessons come from the people you underestimate. The next 2 weeks were a study in Schadenfreude. Alex, who had never truly worked for anything in his life, was getting a crash course in humility. I received daily updates from our security desk about his comings and goings. He'd arrive at 6 a.m., looking progressively more disheveled, to study the manual in our lobby. His perfectly pressed suits gave way to business casual, then finally to what Mom would horrifyingly call weekend wear. On day 10, I was leaving late when I found him in the lobby, surrounded by empty coffee cups and technical documents. The quantum encryption protocols, he muttered, not even looking up. I've read this section 4 times, and it still doesn't make sense. I stood there for a moment, watching my usually polished brother run his hands through his messy hair. Want some help? His head snapped up. For a second, I saw a flash of the little boy who used to ask me to help with his math homework before Dad convinced him that Winter's men didn't need help. You do that. I sat down across from him. Contrary to what our parents think, I don't actually want you to fail. I just want you to understand what we do here. For the next 2 hours, I walked him through the basics of quantum encryption. To my surprise, Alex was actually listening, really trying to understand. He paused, searching for words. This is actually brilliant, Emma. The way you've integrated the AI with the encryption protocols. No wonder Goldman wants this. Thanks, I said, genuinely touched. It was the first real compliment he'd given me in years. I was an ass at Thanksgiving, he said suddenly. And not just at Thanksgiving. I've been an ass for years. Yes, you have. It was easier, you know, playing the role they wanted. Golden boy, following in Dad's footsteps. He stared at the manual. I never had to think about whether I was actually good at anything. And now I'm terrified, he admitted. The technical evaluation is in 4 days, and even after all this studying, I'm not sure I can do this. I leaned back, studying my brother. You know, there are other positions on the integration team, ones that might better suit your actual skills. Like what? You're good with people, Alex, really good. What we need is someone who can bridge the gap between our technical team and Goldman's traditional banking culture, someone who understands both worlds. He looked up, hope flickering in his eyes. You think I could do that? I think you could be excellent at it, if you're willing to admit to Patterson that the senior technical manager role isn't the right fit. Alex winced. Dad would. Dad would what? Be disappointed that his son showed professional self-awareness and found a role where he can truly excel. You've met our father, right? Alex attempted a joke, but I could see him seriously considering it. The next morning, I got a call from Patterson. Ms. Winters, Alex just came to see me, asked to be reassigned as Integration Communications Manager instead of Technical Manager, said he reviewed the protocols and realized he could better serve the project in a different capacity. Patterson paused. I have to say, I'm impressed. That kind of self-awareness is rare, especially in young executives. I agree, I said, smiling. We'll still need your sign-off on his new role, of course. He'll have it by the end of the day. The real test came that evening. Our parents had called an emergency family dinner at their favorite restaurant after hearing about Alex's role change. I arrived to find Mom practically in tears and Dad in full lecture mode. Have you lost your mind? He was saying to Alex. Communications manager? That's practically a demotion. It's really not, Alex said quietly. The role has the same seniority, same pay grade, it's just better suited to my skills. Skills? Mom dabbed her eyes. You're a Winters. You're suited for leadership. This is her fault. Dad pointed at me as I sat down. She forced you into this. Actually, Alex straightened up. Emma helped me understand what real leadership looks like. It's not about titles or forcing yourself into the wrong role. It's about knowing your strengths and using them effectively. The waiter chose that moment to arrive. Dad ordered a double scotch. I've spent 2 weeks studying SecureFlow's security protocols, Alex continued. What Emma's built, it's incredible. Revolutionary. And you know what? I'm man enough to admit I'm not the best person to manage its technical implementation, but I am the right person to help two different corporate cultures work together effectively. Mom's tears had stopped. She was looking between us with confusion, as if seeing her children for the first time. Well, Dad blustered, I'm calling Patterson tomorrow. This is ridiculous. Go ahead, Alex and I said simultaneously, then looked at each other in surprise. But Alex continued, before you do, maybe take a look at SecureFlow's market valuation. See exactly what kind of company you're suggesting should lower its standards. I nearly choked on my water. That was exactly what I'd said to him 2 weeks ago. Dad pulled out his phone, presumably to look up my company. His face went through several interesting colors. That's not possible, he muttered. Oh, but it is, I smiled. Turns out my little computer thing isn't so little anymore. In fact, after the Goldman deal goes through, we'll be the leading security provider for 3 of the top 5 investment banks. But you work in a place with beanbag chairs, Mom protested weakly. And a ping pong table, Alex added. Don't forget the ping pong table, which, by the way, has led to some of their best problem-solving breakthroughs from what I've seen. The rest of dinner was surprisingly pleasant, marked by a stunned silence from our parents and, for the first time in years, genuine conversation between me and Alex. As we left the restaurant, Alex pulled me aside. Thank you, he said simply, not just for the job, but for making me see things differently. I hugged him, surprising us both. Keep the self-awareness. It looks good on you. Behind us, I could hear Mom on the phone, probably already spinning this to her friends. Oh yes, Alex's new role is very innovative. He'll be bridging the traditional and digital banking worlds. Some things never change. But maybe, just maybe, some things do. 6 months after the infamous Thanksgiving dinner, I stood in my office, looking out at the New York skyline. The Goldman Sachs integration had been a huge success, largely thanks to Alex's surprisingly excellent work as communications manager. Who knew my little brother actually had talents beyond smoozing at country clubs? A knock at my door pulled me from my thoughts. Come in. Ms. Winters, my assistant Sarah, appeared, trying to hide a smile. Your mother is here to see you. That was new. Mom had never visited my office before. She claimed the startup atmosphere gave her migraines. She walked in, looking slightly out of place in her Channel soup among our modern decor. But something was different about her demeanor. Less judgmental, more uncertain. Emma, darling, she started, then paused, taking in the view from my office. This is quite impressive. Thanks, Mom. What brings you here? She sat down, smoothing her skirt. I've been doing some thinking. Your father and I. Well, we may have been wrong about a few things. I tried not to let my jaw drop. In 32 years, I'd never heard my mother admit to being wrong about anything. The thing is, she continued, we've always had such a clear picture of what success looks like. Your father's career, his father's before him, but watching you and Alex these past months, she twisted her wedding ring, a nervous habit I'd inherited. You've both found such different paths to success. And I'm proud of you. Now my jaw didn't drop. The Ladies' Club is hosting a series of talks about women in business, she said quickly, as if afraid she'd lose her nerve. I wondered if you might consider being our keynote speaker. I blinked. The Ladies' Club was Mom's holy grail, the center of her social universe. For her to suggest this. I like that, I said softly. Wonderful. Some of her usual briskness returned. Oh, and your father wanted me to ask. Well, this is a bit awkward. What is it, Mom? The bank's cybersecurity contract is up for renewal next month. He wondered if you might consider submitting a proposal. Not because we're family, she added hastily, but because, as he finally admitted, SecureFlow is the best in the business. I smiled. I'll have our team send over the paperwork. After she left, I called Alex. Did Mom just visit your office too? He answered, laughing. Yeah. Did she invite you to watch my keynote speech? She did. Said she's already told everyone her children are revolutionizing modern finance. Pretty sure she still doesn't understand what either of us actually does. But hey, progress is progress. We both laughed. The sound was comfortable, natural, something it hadn't been in years. Hey, he said, turning serious. Dad asked me to manage their account if they sign with Secure Flow. You okay with that? More than okay, I replied. You've proven yourself, Alex. Not as the person they wanted you to be, but as the person you actually are. That weekend, we had another family dinner. But this time, instead of at our parents' formal dining room, we met at my apartment. Mom only flinched slightly at my casual table setting, and Dad actually complimented the wine I'd selected from my Nouveau Riche wine fridge, his words, but said with an almost smile. As we sat eating, I looked around at my family. Mom was asking Alex about his latest project, actually listening to his answers. Dad was examining my industry awards with grudging admiration. And Alex was finally comfortable in his own skin, no longer trying to be Dad's clone. You know, Dad said, swirling his wine, I ran into Patterson at the club yesterday. He said the Goldman integration was one of the smoothest they've ever had. Said it was because of how well my children work together. He cleared his throat. I may have been hasty in my previous judgments. Coming from Dad, this was practically a tearful apology. What he means, Mom interpreted, is that we're sorry, and we're proud of you both. Alex raised his glass. To finding our own paths. To bean bags and ping pong tables, I added with a smirk. To success, Dad said. To family, Mom finished. We clinked glasses, and I felt something settle in my chest. The anger, the hurt, the need to prove myself. It was all still there, but softer now. Healing. Sometimes the hardest people to stand up to our family, but sometimes standing up to them is exactly what you need to do, not just for yourself, but for them too. And sometimes, just sometimes, the people who laugh at your dreams end up being the ones who need you the most.